What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And you, like me, probably subscribe to Disney Plus for The Mandalorian. But turns out there's a lot of other things on Disney Plus, including under the Marvel tab. You will find a little section where you can watch the Marvel films in timeline order. Not in the order that they were released, but in the order that they would take place in the canonical timeline of the universe. Now, I'm definitely a Marvel fan, but I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Well, okay, I'm a very large Marvel fan, but I'm not obsessed with it. A lot of these movies I only saw one time in the theater, having never rewatched them. So for some of these films, this is only my second watch, but I wanted to share my impression with you, whether I've seen the movie once or 1,000 times, my rewatch of these movies and how they have held up. This is part one, and if you enjoy it, I'll share my thoughts for all of the rest of the movies as I finish them. So starting off with Captain America, I enjoyed this film the first time I saw it. I enjoyed it a lot more here on my second watch, but I never really felt the need to go back and watch it because it's not that exciting of a film, and it's not as good as some of the later MCU films. It lacks a lot of the comedy, it lacks a lot of the coolness that is in there. It feels very much like a paint-by-numbers thing, and whereas the action's very good, the plotline's very good, the acting's very good, it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't fulfill me the way a lot of later MCU films do, especially upon rewatch. Now, had this been the first one I saw, I would have been completely blown away. But the ending, I don't know, the ending to me felt fine the first time through. Second time, it just felt kind of rushed. Decent movie. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10 for the rest of the Marvel Universe. Next up is Captain Marvel, and I saw this in the movie theater, and I really didn't care for it. I think a lot of that had to do with the controversy that was surrounding it. This is my second watch of this film, and unfortunately, I didn't enjoy it that much more. I mean, there's some really great stuff in here. I like what they did with the Skrulls. I like what they did with Nick Fury. I don't really like some of the jokes. I don't really like some of the comedy. And Brie Larson's acting here continues to just frustrate me. It's so weird that the entire plot around the character is that she's an overly emotional character, and how they're trying to keep her from showing any emotions, but then at no point in the film does she ever show emotion. I don't really blame Brie Larson. I do think it might have been the direction that caused that to happen, because she's a very good actress. She's acted much better in other films. This is her first superhero role. I think they told her to be stoic, and she was very much so. But it kind of ruined the movie. 2 out of 10 for me. Next up is the first Iron Man, and I have to say, I absolutely love this movie. I had seen it several times before this. I'll probably see it several more times. Having watched it again this time, though, there are a few things that kind of frustrate me. I don't really like the way it wraps up. It does seem to just kind of jump into that big fight with Obadiah for no good reason. That the fight is really good, the character, the writing, the storyline, all the ad-libbing, it was really, really amazing. And as someone who enjoyed Iron Man in the comic books a little bit, I do like most of the changes they made, making him choose to focus on work and technology rather than his alcoholism and his hedonism. So, I don't know. I think it's a great movie, honestly. It's probably not the best in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but for me, this one's an 8 out of 10. It's a good time. It was the first Marvel movie that I saw. It was the one that launched the Cinematic Universe. Just doesn't get much better than that. Iron Man 2, I didn't enjoy quite as much, though. I'm not really sure why. I only saw it once in the theater and walked out a little bit disappointed. Having watched it here this second time, I enjoyed it a lot more. I love what they're doing with Tony Stark and the overall story that they're telling about him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe here. I do like what they did with the supporting cast here, whether it's Pepper Potts or was it Justin Hammer, or even the enemy in this movie, which is Whiplash. I mean, all of that stuff was very interesting, very good. It did focus a little less on the comedy, a little less on the development, and a little more on the fighting and the action, which I know is what a lot of people expect from Marvel films. Overall, though, much better movie than I thought it was when I walked out of it the first time. I liked this upon second viewing more than I did Captain America, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Next up would be The Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton rather than Ruffalo. Since it's not on Disney Plus, I didn't go back and watch it. And I'll probably make the exception for the Spider-Man films, but I didn't for this one. Honestly, the Hulk is still one of my favorite characters, right up there next to Spider-Man, so I really feel like I probably should have watched this one before I made this video, but I didn't. And that's because they should have put it on Disney Plus. So, besides, I like Ruffalo much better than Norton anyway. Question mark out of 10. So when it comes to the first Thor, I think I, like a lot of people here, agree that it's kind of not a great film. It doesn't seem to fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I get it. I understand, it's supposed to be the whole Shakespearean drama kind of thing, but it's just so serious, and it's not a character that I've ever been able to take serious, and so much of it takes in place in outer space and these alternate dimensions, and it was really hard for me to relate to it the first time I saw it. However, here in the second watch, now that I've bonded with Thor, now that I like the character a lot more, watching the movie a second time and seeing all those little hints at comedy, all those little love story hints, and all the other stuff that they were doing with it, I enjoyed it a lot more. The score I would have given this movie the first time was so much lower than I'm giving it now. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 right here. I didn't like it as much as Captain America. But I do like what they were trying to do with it, and I wish they had gotten to do it back then. Letting Chris Hemsworth be the comedic mind that he is would have been a great idea. I'm glad they finally did it, but I wish they had done it from the get-go. Then the final movie that I want to talk about in this video is The Avengers. And what can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said, wasn't already said in my review all those years ago? This is almost a perfect film. And I've rewatched it many, many times, and I will probably rewatch it many, many more. And the fact that they took all of these characters from all of these films, not just the main characters, but some of the side characters as well, and made them work together towards that common goal, and gave them all of these little sidebars and all of these little moments and all of these little one-liners like, puny God. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, except it does. I'm going to continue watching these movies. I will continue to share my joy with you about them, but it does. We know that it does, but I can't believe it got better than this. I really can't. 9 out of 10, only because I know there's more coming. There's better coming. No, you know what? Screw that. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Best movie in this lineup, best movie in a long time, best movie of one of my best movies of my lifetime. Incredible. Yeah, there will be other 10 out of 10s. This is not the best movie in the cinematic universe, but it's certainly worthy of that rating. So, 10 out of 10. So this has been a great way to spend some of this quarantine time. I hope that you will join me in doing this. Go back and rewatch those movies. Let me know what you think. And then join me for the next video in a week when I watch the next phase between here and Civil War. And then we'll go from there, from Civil War all the way to Endgame, probably. Gosh, there's 22 movies. 22. That's a lot of movie watching, but I've been watching like 1 a night, sometimes 2 a night. Been trying to get on a little bit of exercise with it, doing my weights while I do it. It's a great way to pass the time. Now, keep in mind, this is one man's opinion. I could be wrong, and I know if I'm wrong, you're to let me know in the comments section below. Which of these movies did you think I was wrong about? Drop a like on this video if you want to see more like this. Hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll know when the next video in the series is out. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I will speak with you again soon.